Hello everybody, OzoneB here with a quick tutorial about how to make an Overworld Wither Rose farm. I showed this in one of my Vault Hunters videos, but this is applicable in more situations than just Vault Hunters. I will say though that it is not 100% vanilla, nor does it work on Bedrock. There are additional prerequisites that are necessary to make this farm design work, but it is very simple once those prerequisites are met. But before we dive into the specifics of how to use this design and why it works, let's talk real quick about withers in general and how we get wither roses. As you probably already know, the wither is a boss that you can create using wither skeleton skulls and soul sand in this T-shaped formation behind me. Now the wither is a formidable boss that's difficult to kill and yields a very important reward. It's also extremely destructive, shooting these black skulls out that destroy blocks. However, when something is killed by one of these skulls, it drops a wither rose. And the wither rose has all kinds of important properties as well that make it useful and desirable. And so farming wither roses is a two-pronged approach. First of all, you have to contain the wither, which is a challenge in and of itself. But secondly, you have to give it something that it can attack, something that it can kill. And the wither is actually pretty selective about the kinds of things that it will or won't attack. Generally, any mob that is considered hostile is not one that the wither will attack, so you can't use zombies and skeletons and the things like that. As you can see, it rather likes slimes. It also likes most of the neutral mobs like chickens and pigs and cows, players and villagers. But finding an easy renewable source for most of these mobs isn't all that easy. Now I first learned of this design while playing on a public server, and so I can't claim credit for the design itself. I don't know who to give credit to, quite honestly. But it's my hope that you can use this technique in your own scenario and in your own way to make an effective wither rose farm. So, first, how do you contain the wither? Now you may feel that simply using obsidian is one way to effectively keep the wither trapped, but no. Look at those blue skulls. Those blue skulls are special, and they can destroy even obsidian. The black ones will only destroy normal Minecraft blocks, but the blue ones are special, and they can destroy pretty much anything. Anything except bedrock, that is. And so, the technique that's favored most often for trapping the wither in a vanilla experience is to use one of these end gateways to break out the portal in the middle and trap the wither in the middle of all of this bedrock. But even still, this isn't that simple, and it's fairly fragile and prone to breaking. The technique that I'm showing you is even more foolproof and simple once the prerequisites are met. There is a vanilla way to keep the wither from breaking blocks, and that is to use the game rule for mob griefing and disable it. You can see that this wither's blue skulls don't damage even this plain old stone structure here. So that is certainly a way to trap the wither if you're willing to tweak the game rules in your own world. Most public servers have the mob griefing game rule enabled so that the wither has its normal functionality. However, many will use a land claim plugin, such as Grief Prevention for Spigot, in order to prevent player griefing. And this generally will also prevent mob griefing, and therefore enable you to trap the wither in a contraption something like this. And so by creating a land claim and making any old box like this around a wither, you can, in effect, trap it permanently for your purposes. Now, it's important to note that you should always check with your server admins before attempting something like this. The configurations might not support it, or it just simply might not be allowed. The other scenario in which this can work is using a modded Minecraft experience, specifically one that uses the Engineer's Decor mod. The Engineer's Decor mod is added in a lot of mod packs, including Vault Hunters, All the Mods 7, and according to their website, about 100 others. So if you're playing in a modded Minecraft experience, it's very likely that you've got the Engineer's Decor mod. And if you do, you're looking for the rebar concrete block. It's this simple gray block in my hand. And honestly, it's not very decorative. But when you look at the details and hold this Control-Shift for help, you see that it is expensive but creeper/wither proof. And so by using rebar concrete blocks, you could use the same kind of cage and trap the wither in the exact same way that I've done here, that you might do with a land claim or with the mob griefing rule disabled. Just build a box with this rebar concrete block, let a wither loose inside of it, and it's trapped forever. The next step is finding something for the wither to kill so that you can get all those wither roses. Of course you want it to be easily renewable, something that generates a lot of mobs so that you get a lot of wither roses. Even though we can see that the wither really hates slimes, it's really not an option, you just don't get enough of them to make an effective wither rose farm. No, you really want to find something that will generate infinitely from a spawner. Fortunately, there are 2 mobs, which are considered neutral, and the wither will attack, that also generate from spawners. Yep, spiders and cave spiders. Every other mob that generates from a spawner is undead, and therefore the wither won't attack it. And so we're down to the brass tacks of it all, the oversimplified version, if you will. Find a spider spawner of one kind or another, clear out your typical spawner area of 9 by 9 by 9 around the spawner. If you're doing the claim method, then claim it. And if you're doing the modded method, surround it all with rebar concrete blocks. And underneath it all, set up a whole bunch of hopper mine carts on powered rails running back and forth. Then when you let the wither loose in here, they'll pick up all of the drops, including all of the spider drops as well as the wither roses. The one big caveat here is that if you're using the modded blocks, you've got to put some extra protections around this spawner, because the wither will destroy the spawner box. And so you need to completely encase it also with the rebar concrete blocks. Don't just do the faces either. Do the full 3x3 all the way around it, because those wither explosions have a way of going through these corners. Even though it's not physically accessible, those explosions can go through these corners and destroy that spawner block, and you'll be having a bad day if that happens. So make sure that it's fully encased in a full 3x3. Turn out all the lights. Don't get killed by the spiders in the process. Release the wither inside. Enjoy the show as the wither kills all those spiders, which are such a pain anyway, and reap the rewards in the chest down below. It's worth noting, of course, that the rates on this farm aren't going to be as good as the typical vanilla Enderman-based wither rose farm, because there's going to be so many more spawns in that type of scenario. But this is so much less fragile and so much easier to make that I think it is well worth sharing and well worth implementing in your world if you need wither roses. And there you have it. That's the quick and easy way of getting wither roses in a modded experience or on a server with grief prevention enabled. I hope that you find it useful too. Remember to like and subscribe if so, and in general, be excellent to each other, and I'm out.